What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dissect That Film, where we dissect your favorite films, film franchises, and TV. On our final episode of Slice of TV for the Halo series on Paramount Plus, I'm sitting down with my good friend Andrew Schoening to talk about the season finale titled Transcendence. I am your host, Brett Parker, and as I just said, I am joined by the wonderful Andrew Schoening.
Hi, everyone.
How are we doing today, buddy?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm kind of happy it's over. I'm kind of happy this is over. Just to be honest, this is the show. Not talking to you. The show.
Yeah, he's probably tired of me too. Everybody, don't let him fool you.
Listen, I do a show with Dan every week. All right, if I can deal with him every week, then you're a piece of cake. So, we were talking about the season finale of the Paramount Plus show Halo. What did we think of it? Not spoilers.
Really? It wasn't what I expected. It wasn't really what I wanted. The action was there. It was. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. Let me put it that way. It was kind of just. Well, I'm not 100% sure what it was, but we'll get deeper into that when we get to spoilers and stuff. But
yeah.
It just threw me for a loop. I don't. Yeah, I gotta save it for spoilers.
Oh, I feel the same way. I went into this expecting more. I got something, but it just wasn't enough to really get me excited for. Oh, I wonder what they're. Oh man, I can't wait for season 2. It was kind of like it ended, and I was like, well, there we go. There it is.
Yep, here we go. Here we got it.
Okay, cool. Everything we talked about last week of things we were hoping we'd see or what we thought we were going to see didn't really happen.
Did one of them happen?
I don't think so.
Did we have one thing happen? No.
I don't think so.
I didn't think so. I didn't think so. I they went a different direction than I honestly seriously thought they were going to go.
Yeah. This is my problem with video games being turned into movies and TV. You have all this amazing source material and you just fuck it up. That's seriously what, how many.
You're not wrong.
I mean, to be honest, the best video game adaptation that I have seen on the big screen or the small screen is the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. The first
Okay,
one.
I was about to actually say it's got to be Sonic.
When Sonic the Hedgehog is the best video game adaptation, that's saying something. That just says, what are we doing?
We legitimately took a blue hedgehog that can run really, really fast and made it into a movie, now a franchise now, multiple movies.
Right.
And both movies have gotten fantastic reviews, and they are, I mean, I'm sure they'll do a third one. It just, yeah, and then we sit here and we look at games like Halo, Assassin's Creed, I mean, just tons of these games that have such deep lore in them.
Mhm.
And it's just when they go to do it, they just kind of, I mean, they want to do something different, which I get is awesome, but it's like they just kind of ignore the source material as a whole. So then you get these video game fans that love these franchises, and they come in here and they're like, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna hope that these guys treat my franchise that I love so much well," and then they get some stuff and Halo as a whole here. It was not fantastic. I feel like they did some necessary evils to make it more of a compelling story. That that way you try to get invested in these characters, but in the end, I feel like it just fell flat because we kind of talked about it a few times. A lot of irons in the fire.
Mhm.
Not really sure where to go with them all. I mean, just
Right.
it just ended up being kind of a mess. And I'm sorry when you say, okay, our first season is 9 episodes long, you better just make sure that you can answer all of the questions that you started in season one. Don't think, oh well, they've already greenlit season two. We're just gonna continue on through this, and we'll answer some of them in season two. I don't think you can do that
Mhm.
and keep people. So, like I said, I mean, I don't want to keep diving too deep because I don't want to spoil anything yet. But uh, just to me, it just fell flat.
Yeah. It had its it had its good fight scene. I thought I liked the battle scene in this
Mm.
episode. We at least we had something, but it just didn't seem like enough. It seemed like such a poorly to be honest, this show just wasn't written well
No.
overall. Like even with the good parts of the show, like the promise is like, yeah, good. Like you had your good episodes that were written pretty well for that episode. But overall as a connecting story, it just it just was such a mess. It just didn't know what it was trying to do. You had the whole Quan magical it went nowhere. It literally went nowhere. You had
Yeah.
what happened in that episode, and then it was like, well, that's it, guys. It doesn't matter. But or you
Spoilers,
might see
guys.
it in
That spoilers that Quan seriously did not end up doing shit in the last one
yeah
because we knew it. We
yeah
knew it. I just I I can't believe it. I mean,
yeah.
holy cow. I mean, that almost makes me honestly, Parker, that makes me almost more angry about this series than anything is the fact that we made it all the way to the season finale. We gave Quan a whole episode,
Yep.
and then there wasn't even anything to do with it. We hated this character to begin with.
Yeah.
So it just that to me just I'm sorry. That just killed it right
Yeah.
there. That was probably my main grievance.
I am gonna say overall, I'm not going to fault the performances because I think that all of these actors did a very good job for what they were given. I think this is all in the writer's room. This was just poor writing, and that's about it. Because I mean, if you look at it, like Pablo Schreiber, he does a great job for the chief that he was given. Like this was the this what he took it and ran with it with what he was given on the page. And you look at all these other people, like Halsey, fantastic. Like I think she's probably one
Mhm.
of the best characters from this show, going through the entire season, even though it kind of was like for her, it was kind of like she made it to the top of the roller coaster and then she just came crashing down with just how fast her her turn from being like just a scientist who's trying to advance herself, but then it's just like, I don't give a shit about anyone. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
whoa, wait a second. That was fast.
It was. They changed her character very drastically over the course of the 9 episodes.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think they, to a certain extent, almost pushed it a little too far.
Hmm.
I've kind of stated multiple times that, we know that Halsey's unhinged in the games. She is looking to, in her own way, better humanity by basically just by making evolution happen.
Hmm.
Um, but in the TV show here, I mean, they basically take her from being this brilliant scientist to just being a freaking lunatic.
Yeah.
That's basically it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I like I'm with you. The actor and actresses performance in this phenomenal. The character itself, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about it, the fact that the creators and the writers and stuff, they were creating their own universe
Mhm.
in this, in Halo. And to be honest, I feel that's kind of what hurt them.
Yeah.
And back to what I was saying before, you have all of this lore. You do not have to go beat for beat for the game. You don't. It's not necessary. There's a lot going on in the Halo universe in the last 20 years.
Right.
But you have all that information and you just kind of create kind of just a very lull storyline. It just doesn't, it's kind of feel like the stakes are kind of just like, who gives a shit, to be honest. And that's kind of how I felt. Like after watching this episode, I'm like, wow, I I just watched 9 episodes of a show that just I should like I probably should have stopped after episode 4 because it really didn't. I mean, we had a couple episodes after that were good, but I just felt like it wasn't worth it in the end. Like there was no
Right.
payoff. And overall I think this first season was a disappointment. Going back, we know that a season 2 has been greenlit and there are possibilities, even though they say there is a season 2. If this really gets a very, very negative reception, there is a possibility it could get canceled before it even starts.
Oh, no, man. Haven't you read all of the comments, man? This thing's a hit. This thing
This
drove
Who
this thing
says that?
drove
Because everything I see is negative for this show.
Oh, man, apparently Paramount Plus because my god, the things I've been reading is about how much, Paramount Plus's subscriber rate is up because of this show,
Well,
and I'm just like, "Okay, were those metrics taken at the first episode?"
yeah, exactly. Yep.
What I mean, are we still taking metrics after the ninth episode? What are we doing here? I
Yeah.
don't I I hate to bag so bad on this because it's like you said, the actor and actress's performance was amazing. Honestly, the story was there. The story was there. Way too much deviation.
Yep.
Just I mean, because you could have made it to point A to from point A to point B in a straight line, and instead we zigzagged and barrel rolled and ducked and dipped
Filler,
and dived and
filler, filler, filler,
yeah, just
filler,
everywhere.
filler,
You did everything
filler.
except from going from A to B
Oh my
almost. We kind of ended
god.
up in maybe C or D somewhere. I don't know where we ended up.
I was
But
talking. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I I was talking to somebody who also watches the show, and I had a conversation after episode 7, which episode 7 is the infamous, just absolute dog shit episode. That's all based in magical with Quan, and it's it's a terrible episode, not just of Halo, but for TV. It's terrible, and and I respect other people's opinions on things. I'm not going to bag them, but the opinion of fillers are necessary. No, they're not. I
No.
don't believe they are. They're not. It's just you can't figure out where to go. So you need
Yeah.
that. You just need that extra. And I, you know, this isn't the only show that does it. You know, I think some of the most infamous fillers are like animes. Animes have like fillers like crazy, where like you have this really intense story, and then it's like an episode that has nothing to do with what's happening, and it's just like, and it's always the ones that people complain about. Like, I didn't care about that episode because it had nothing to do with the plot. And it's like, why was it there? There's
Yeah.
no need for filler episodes. Stop writing them. That's just a waste of time and money of you just put, here's this shit that doesn't even go to, it's not, but it might link to season 2. I don't care.
Right.
I want to see the progression of that main story that I have been invested in since episode 1.
Yeah. I I would rather almost have a 4 episode cut to the point, let's tell a story thing than 9 episodes with filler every other episode.
Yeah. Yep. Me too.
That's basically just how I feel. I would so much rather have that.
I just got to decompress from this show. All right, well, I feel we can jump right into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the season finale of Halo, make sure to go watch it if you want to.
Yeah,
And then
we
come back.
probably turned you off from here, but
Yeah. I mean, listen, that's the point of the show. You know, I want people to watch and think that just because we don't like it that you're not going to like it. That's not how, go form your own opinion on it. You might not agree with me, and that's okay. This is my opinion. This is Schoening's opinion. That's how this works. So, but if you haven't seen this episode, go watch it, come back and listen to the rest of this episode starting now. Schoening,
okay.
tell me your thoughts with the spoilers included.
Okay, I'm gonna do this without trying to trigger you again. Um, uh,
That might be very hard.
um, so let's start from the very beginning. They picked up immediately after where episode 8 left off with cheat with John just getting his absolute ass kicked, which
Hmm.
I expressed my grievances on that in the last episode about how they basically just, I mean, he wasn't in his armor, nothing, and he was just like a rag doll. They threw him around.
Yeah.
Um, all of a sudden, we kind of get kicked into high gear here, and then we have this standoff between the Spartans. Between all four of them, basically Riz and Vanek and
I
versus
and
Kai
Chief.
and John, and it's basically just the standoff, and then all of a sudden, out of the corner in the dark shadows, Captain Keys just walks in, and he's just like, "Oh, everything that Chief and Kai are telling you is true. You've been brainwashed. You were kidnapped as kids. Blah 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 blah." And then all of a sudden, they're just like, "Oh, well, I totally believe you.
Right.
That's fine. Hey, Chief, we're best buds again.
Yep.
Whatever. We're gonna go off and we're gonna kill Halsey just
Yeah.
so quick." And I'm just
Yeah.
like, okay. Um, Sudden realization and quick judgment that we're just gonna go kill Halsey. Cool, whatever. Kind of let that slide because I did like the fury that Kai showed as she dashed off after Halsey. Um, the the whole thing with her jumping on top of Halsey's ship, again, kind of a lack of CGI there. Felt like it was kind of clunky. Didn't
Yeah.
show very well.
To be honest, I can't. I didn't even judge this, but the visual effects were like the least of my concerns when I was watching the
Well,
rest of the show.
you're gonna hear some grievances from me because I
That's
felt
fine.
CGI. I felt CGI wise, this was the clunkiest looking episode out of all of them. But anyway, the whole thing, with Kai basically, supposedly killing creepy dude.
Well, he
Uh,
did.
is he though?
I mean, the ship went boom.
Yeah, but we found out, Halsey survived, and we're gonna talk about this in a
Yeah. I
minute,
mean,
and how.
unless unless she cloned him too.
Well, I'm wondering, were both of them Flash clones?
I don't know.
Because how the hell did Halsey even get off? I don't think she was ever on the ship.
No, well, no. The real Halsey wasn't ever on the ship.
Yeah.
It was
No,
always the clone.
So it makes me think it's like were they both clones? And
So my thing is, I feel that Halsey wasn't real for like the majority of the show.
you think she was even real in like when she was locked in her house?
It's hard to tell. It's hard to know. Like
I mean,
I mean, that was kind of one of those moments that threw me off. I was like, oh shit, I kind of should have seen this coming, but I didn't.
yeah. Yeah, they made like all of a sudden when I saw it, I mean, the first thing I saw when they said, "Oh, she's bleeding from the nose," I was like,
Son of a bitch.
"Son of a bitch was a clone." I was like, didn't I was with you. I was like, I should have seen this coming, but it didn't happen. I
Yeah.
don't know why. We knew that she was cloning herself. I mean, she had to clone herself to create Cortana.
Right.
But was just amazing that I didn't see that coming. The We got more of the chemistry between Master Chief and Cortana in this episode. And once again, I love that. I love it because they did do such a good job of Cortana and Chief, just their chemistry
Yeah.
that the two of them have.
Hmm.
That is one thing that they did transpose really well from the games over to the show. When they were, I mean, I shouldn't say that through the whole thing because obviously they kind of went on a weird tangent there for a while where Chief didn't trust Cortana for fair reason, but they never really talk about that in the games that he didn't trust her.
Hmm.
Um, but when he does trust her, it's the video game level quality of kind of a relationship between them. Uh, as for the fight on the Covenant Holy World, that's where I felt like the CGI was just it. You're kind of on this, I mean, this battlefield here, and the first thing when I looked at it, I was like, man, you could have done a little bit better job of making me feel like this planet was real.
It's
Um,
so boring. Like, it's
it
such a
is.
boring area.
It's yeah. I mean, like
It's like an arena battle.
there's like no detail hardly
No.
to it. It's a few pillars and obelisks and kind of like a I don't know, like one kind of inner building place, but you hear them talk about like there must be tons more of this place because, hundreds of Covenant troops and stuff hidden below, but I was just like, man, I don't know, it kind of looks like you're standing on top of a hill somewhere. I
And
mean,
hey, more fucking sand. Like,
yeah, and that's kind of how it was. Is it just more space sand because
oh, so much
space is made out of
sand.
sand. Um,
Sand gets everywhere. I wanted someone to say that because they literally, like, when the Spartans drop in and then even after the battle, it's just covered in sand. And I just wanted to
I
be like, sand getting everywhere.
I've got I've got sand in all of the places.
Oh, especially in those Spartan suits, man.
Oh man. But
Oh, Lord.
um they did shock me by killing off McKee so
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to be I had a feeling that the prophets were using her and she was going to be disposable. I knew that she wouldn't last forever.
Yeah.
But I did not expect her to die in the season 1 finale because I figured like, oh, they've got to get her at least um to Halo. I mean, she's got to be the one to basically activate the rings. They know
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Um and then like they're talking like after she basically shows up with the two keystones, they're just kind of talking like we'll kill her. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. It's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Um I guess they do kind of make a statement there a little bit about how they do have to have a human to activate it because after she dies, they're like, we have to keep
You
Chief because
gotta
we
keep
know that
the demon alive.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the demon has to be left alive. Um, so that was interesting. I The battle sequence was good. We got more grunts. Still no quirky grunt talks, or
Grunts are
anything
so
like that.
big.
Yeah, they seem kind of big, but maybe that's just size that they are. I don't know. Um, I was just kind of disappointed. I kept waiting for like one line, like all of a sudden, like the demon's here, some
Right.
some weird thing that you'd hear from like the game. Like I nothing would have been better is if like a grunt comes running into the little circle that they're in, and just goes like the demon's here, and then all of a sudden like just
Right.
gets shot in the back of the head or something like
I
that.
think the reason they didn't do that is because they don't speak English like they do the
I
Sangheili.
guess that's
eh,
true.
so it would kind of break the. I mean, it would be funny for us. I would have laughed at it. I would have been
Oh,
like,
I
"Yeah,
would have
yeah,
died.
perfect." But just didn't make sense to the universe because they have, the prophets and the elites and stuff. They're all speaking in Sangheili, so
True.
it just wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of a thing that they didn't need to add to this
Right.
because what if you wanted to in season 2 bring in who's the elite that you fight up against in the
Arbiter.
first? Yeah. What if you brought him in as the next villain? Like it doesn't feel right to have him just be speaking in Sangheili the whole time. Like
So
I need David Keith back.
yeah, no kidding. No, they actually see, I think we've already been introduced to him. Uh, there's in the first episode, there's that one Sangheili that's, like, in the cave when Master Chief goes up and touches it, the
Oh, and
keystone,
he runs out
and he
and
runs,
escapes. Yeah.
and then later, he talks to the prophets, and they,
Mhm.
regard him pretty
Pretty high.
well. I mean,
Yeah.
they like him. So, the Arbiter in the games, it's basically like a punishment to get that, title, but, I feel like they might kinda go there, but I had been reading on the internet that a lot of people were thinking that Sangheili was what will be the Arbiter, and it kind of also goes with the whole thing that that brute that we kept seeing in there was Atriox, which ties in with Infinite
It
and stuff a
was
little bit.
because it said in the subtitles when he's grunting,
Yeah.
it said his name in the
It says
subtitles.
Atriox grunts or
Yeah.
whatever. Oh, I need to go back and actually look at the subtitles now.
I was like, "Well, there you go. There it is."
Okay. Well, then there you go.
Sure.
So that it confirmed by subtitles, uh, tie in with actual
Yep.
Halo Infinite storyline. So neat. um, cool that
Yeah,
we can tie a character into the Halo Infinite storyline, but not
but not really. They
hold
just
very
used his
very
name.
true to other stuff.
They just used his name. Oh.
But no, but basically to finish summing my thing up, it's basically the fight was good. The chemistry with Cortana was good. We had my grievances big time are just the kind of cruddy CGI that we got. The fact that we had like I said, my biggest grievance is the fact that we legitimately wasted so much time with Quan in like 4 episodes out of the season. More than that, probably 5. Um, and then legitimately we didn't even see her in the season finale. There's no mention of her, nothing. That made me almost more irate than anything was that I kept waiting. I was like, "Where's Quan? Where she's gonna come in? There's gonna be something that happens here. I don't know what it is." I thought at first maybe that portal was that she's supposed to be guarding was the portal to get to this place that they were um that they ended up on, but it wasn't. Um, also, then the last thing was is that other than another vision, we didn't see Halo.
Nope.
We saw a map, and that's what the keystones do. Is they're just a map,
Yep.
and that's it.
And the prophets are like, "Oh, it's not completed." And you're like, "Why? Well, so you tell me this entire show is for these 2 things and you're telling me it's not even the entire thing?"
Yeah,
Okay.
I just
Underwhelming.
it was so that basically means that you almost know that like in season 2 that they got to go find a
Uh,
third piece. Um,
please
the
no.
only the only other thing that I'm kind of bummed about but intrigued about was what they did with Cortana to kind of finish the fight in this whole thing.
Cortana's the best part of
Um,
this fucking show.
she was, but I've stated that before. The fact that they brought Jen Taylor in to legitimately play her, that was the first win.
Yeah.
But number 2 was just the fact that they kept all of Cortana's mannerisms, all of it. Made this show. Um, the only problem now is that you had to kill Chief, and Cortana takes over his body, and so she can pick basically just go. She's the best Spartan out of all of them.
Right?
I just, you sit there and you look at like these 4 Spartans that are basically dead at this point.
Yep.
One is, but uh, and then she just takes on like a whole horde of Covenant, no
Yep.
problem, just
Yep.
wastes them all in just a few seconds, and I'm just kind of like, that's awesome. But the fact then that they just leave the episode, the last thing you see in this episode is Kai sitting down next to Chief,
Chief, yeah.
and she just goes like, "Is that you?" And of course, Cortana doesn't say anything. I don't know if she can. I don't know if
Right.
she can actually control John's voice. I don't know if she can make him talk. I don't know what she has abilities to do with,
Right.
but she just all of a sudden he just like takes and then he just turns back and looks out the window, and I'm just like,
Okay.
cut the black, roll the credits. I'm like, there's got to be at least a post credit scene, mid credit scene. There was not.
Nope. Nope.
Nothing to propel us into the next
This was
season.
it. Yep.
This was just it. So as far as we're concerned, we ended season 1 with Master Chief legitimately dying and Cortana basically being chief.
Yep. Halsey clones herself, gets away.
Yep.
Um,
And she's still on Reach, which I think it was a giant middle finger to
what?
the UNSC. Is that all
She
of a
doesn't
sudden
even
like you
disguise herself. She just
No,
looks like she's just Halsey. Just hey,
she's just sitting there with her notebook, just like
yeah.
looking at the skyline, and I'm
Like
just like,
hey,
wow, that's a middle finger. Just like, hey, bitches, I'm still out here.
yeah. The keys. The only thing that was really good about that was, of course, Captain Key's coming in, telling them about how he was involved in the kidnappings. He was the one who planned it out. And I
Yep.
really liked the interaction between Miranda and her mother, because you later find out it wasn't really her, and then later she
Right.
comes in and realizes it's not her mother. Um, yeah, Reach is still it's still there.
Yeah. Did not
Nothing
get
happens
touched.
on it, and yeah, it just was a very lackluster episode. The season as a whole is very underwhelming. Overall, just it's just another adaptation that just didn't hit the mark for me. And it just doesn't, and it continues to frustrate me because you have you have stuff to do, like you have things you can take to create a good story.
Right.
Resident Evil is in the same boat. You have all this lore and you can't figure it out. You keep making these shitty ass movies. Stop it. And people say, what about The Witcher? The Witcher technically is based on the books, not on the games.
Yep.
Sonic the Hedgehog, everybody. That's the
Yep.
best. That's the best we can do. Sonic the Hedgehog.
For some
Jesus.
reason,
Holy crap.
Sonic the Hedgehog is our saving grace when it comes to video game movies.
And that's what really makes me nervous about the Last of Us show that's coming out at some point, I think this year or next year. I love that game series so much. It's so well written. The story is fantastic. But somehow you just have that deep, deep, like just
It's a
aching
hole in your
feeling
gut. Yep.
that I'm gonna just be so disappointed in what they do. Oh
This is
man.
um I just I don't understand why. I'm with you. I don't understand why you can take you've got all these video games where basically the story is written for you. People have asked for years and years and years for a Halo story, and they've been pretty blunt about it, about how they basically just wanted you to take the games and just turn them into a cinematic cutscene. That's all they wanted. They want you to follow the same story, the whole thing. We just want to see like an actual epic movie made out of it. And we can't get it. We can't get it. Instead, we got to have some different timeline with different happenings, and hell, who knows? I could be wrong, Parker. Reach might not get glassed at all in this. They could give me a total middle finger and just be like, Reach is
You
not gonna die.
you thought wrong. Yep, pretty
I
much.
mean, I guess that I got to thinking about that after I watched the finale, and I was like, well, Reach didn't get glassed. Then I got to thinking, I was like, maybe it won't. I
Yeah.
mean, they've talked multiple times about how this is not the same timeline, and I'm just like, in the games, Reach getting glassed was kind of the whole tipping point where, like I said before, the UNSC was on the defense, and they had to fight back, and they had to, you know, basically, well, then they huddled around Earth. I
Mhm.
mean, the Earth was the last stand, and Right now, we have had none of that. There's no risk
Mm,
other than a few skirmishes with the Covenant, and then supposedly the Halo just being so bad. They don't even know what the Halo does yet, really. They
mhm.
know that supposedly it ends all life. I mean, they get that, they state that, but I mean, there's none of that. And for something who for some characters who keep voicing the same line, which is "Find the Halo, win the war," uh, we didn't even find the Halos. I mean, the main point of the first season didn't even happen.
Yep.
I I just hate it because I'm still gonna stick behind it, and people can disagree with me. This first season was a good season. It was. It was because, and I'm gonna say it just with a nice little bow on it. It was a good season because they did give you a lot of good characters. The characters are good. They have good stories. They did not need to be told in the amount that they were and executed the way that they were. But if they could have done it to where I was invested in all of those characters, it would have been great. I mean, they had us every time that they gave us a Chief episode. We wanted Chief. We were invested in Chief. We wanted that the Spartans. We wanted to see all that. It's just the execution was so terrible in the end that it just turned us off because they didn't wrap it up. There was no ending to it. I mean, just it was just kind of
Yep.
maybe, I don't know. Um, that's just the one downside to it. So I don't know.
If someone came up to you and said, "Hey, I just saw that there's a Halo show. Would you recommend I watch it?" Would you say yes?
Oh, this is a loaded question. Um, it's a loaded question because uh, if you are a fan of the Halo games like I am, if you've invested your time, you know the story of the games pretty much by heart, you've read the books, you've done all that. I'm gonna look at you and I'm gonna say with a completely straight face that this is gonna make you very angry.
Mhm.
This is gonna make you extremely angry, and you probably will be very mad at me if I tell you to go watch it. So I would probably tell them no. If there's a person out there that is like, "Hey, I saw this Halo thing. I've never played the games, um, but it seems interesting. A lot of people are talking about it." I would be like, "Yeah, you should go watch um this TV show because I feel like they would enjoy it." Um, I feel like a lot of my anger is still directed mostly because it missed the narration and the lore of the game. In the roundabout ways they did. I'm mad because they deviated from the game and we didn't get what we thought was coming. And for somebody who didn't know what was supposed to be coming, they probably would be happy with it.
Right.
I mean, while we've been sitting here talking, I'm looking on IMDb. The reviews for this episode are like an 8.3 out of 10 with 49 reviews. I'm looking through here. A lot of them are nines, 10 out of 10 stars. I mean, I'm seriously scrolling through a bunch. Then all of a sudden you hit like one that is like it's like a 2 or a 1 or like a 5. These I can tell right now, I bet you 90% of these that have the 9s or 10s are people who have not played the games. There's been a few here that I've read that have been like I never watched or I've never played the games. But I bet you the ones that are 1 and 2s, I almost guarantee you those are guys that have played the games are upset for the same reasons I am.
Yeah, probably, most likely, because I've seen a lot of people who are just like, "Yeah, this show sucks because it doesn't, deviates from things, the whole Chief not being in his suit and always being out with the helmet on. It's always those things that they nitpick, and I'm right there with you with some of that stuff. The fact that Chief is barely in his armor when that is a huge factor in the games. It's like you
Mhm.
want to see Chief kick ass, and the fact that there's literally a cool fight scene where he is not in his suit, that's a very big turnoff for me.
Right.
And on my side of it, if someone came up to me, either hasn't played the games or played the games, and said, "Hey, I'm looking for a new show to watch. Should I watch Halo?" I'd probably be like, "Nah, there's a lot of other better shows out there to watch." I don't know if I could recommend the show. I enjoyed episodes of this show, but for me, with a show like this, I need to enjoy the show as a whole, and I didn't. And the season finale was very underwhelming, which then turned this season into a very underwhelming show. So, and it's unfortunate because there was a lot of potential. And, yes, there's going to be a season two. And I really hope that we get something similar to The Mandalorian where they had a very weak first season and then season two
Mhm.
just kicked ass. And please give that to us for this. Redeem yourself for the Quan Madrigal episodes that we didn't need.
Yes.
And, this kind of just meh season finale, which, I'm so numb to just bland season finales or series finales by now. It's just like at the end of it, I was like, okay, it could have been worse. It really could have been. But I don't know.
I
I
do
don't really have
have
much else to say about it.
I do have one request for season 2 when they do it. I need them to bring back, Jonathan Liebesman to direct. I want him to direct all of the episodes,
I agree.
um, because the ones that he didn't were shit.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie, they were horrible. Um, I'm almost 100% sure all of them that he didn't direct.
Except
Yeah,
for
the
episode
Jessica
the
Lowry
episode
one, which was the Quan, I'm sorry, that was shit.
episode one was good. Uh
Episode 4 was the one that we got the fight scene at the end, wasn't it?
um
No. No. Episode 4 was all of the flashbacks.
yeah, that was one of the bad ones.
Yep, that was a bad
Well,
one.
episode 5, great. 6 was good. 7, absolute dog shit. And then 8, 9. So he directed quite a few of them.
Yep, okay, Otto Bathurst, who did episode 1 and 2, he 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 could come back. That was fine. He did a fine job, but I'm sorry, that, Role Renee? I hope I'm saying that right. I'm sorry, your episodes fell flat, and then, like I said, that Jessica Lowry, I don't know if you just got I don't know if you drew the short straw, what happened there, that was just that should not have been there.
Nope.
This just should not have been there.
Nope.
Um, so I guess I hope that I just hope that when it comes down to it, I would love to see Jonathan come back and direct a lot of these episodes because I feel like when he did it, he had a very good eye for the fight scenes. The fight scenes were fantastic. It's what fueled and the things that we did like in quite a few of them. Uh, yeah, I just I need more.
Yep. Me
You
too.
had the equivalent of basically 9 hours to tell us a story,
Yep.
and you told us some stories, but it's like you ripped out the back half of the book.
That's a perfect analogy.
It's basically it. I mean, you told us a ton of stories, had us invested in some characters. I stated last episode that I was all in on the John and McKee uh love interest thing that they had going on. I was all in on that. I couldn't believe I was, but I was. Um, they just ripped it out. I mean, the Quan thing probably would have been better if we had had more time and the ability to tell a better story for that. I don't.
Yep.
I don't know if she could have came in to play a bigger part in it. Great. Same with Soren. You kind of start off with Soren's going to be this badass motherfucker that just, you know, he was the one that escaped the Spartan program, and then all of a sudden they just threw that out the window, and he's just
Pointless.
another guy.
Just pointless.
I just, it's like I said, the I felt like the intentions were good, the execution was shit.
Yep.
So
Definitely.
I'm not going to complain anymore about it. I've beat that horse. It's
What?
dead.
Yeah. What I'm looking for season 2. I want the Halo theme in the opening. Freaking like when they're doing the credits and the title. Give me the classic Halo theme. All right, it's one of the most iconic themes ever, and we get it very, very rarely.
So question real quick. Do you think that the reason they couldn't do that in this TV show, or at least for this season, was because of the whole feud with Marty McDonnell?
Oh, is there? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Have you oh, okay, so they have been at war between basically Microsoft and the original composer of the Halo theme that we know and love, Marty McDonnell. Um they've been at a huge feud because, and I'm going to screw this up. I think he thought he deserved more. Like they kind of used his property, or whatever. There was some legal stuff that they went through. Anyway, that's been like a 10 or 11-year run. Basically, I think since
Wow.
Halo 3 came out, they've kind of been in a deal with this. Anyway, I just read, I think this has been like 4 weeks ago. Um I'll have to look it up later. I'm not going to look it up now. Um I know they finally mended or patched that up. But see, I think part of the issue, and I wondered, and it could not be because the question I think in lied, who owns the right to that music? Is it Marty because he
It can't be because
composed it?
I well, the thing is I know that they use the theme in every Halo game. Like when you
Yeah,
open
but
up,
it's never been the exact same. They've taken pieces of it. And if you listen to the beginning of the one on the show here, you get the opening chant.
yeah,
There's a quick little thing where it's just like, oh, and then all of a sudden it goes into
yeah,
uh, the whole instrumental part of it all. But
yeah, and you could hear it a little bit throughout the episodes too. Like when something
um,
really epic would happen, they would like drop it, for a good 5-6 seconds.
I just kind of wonder whether, if now that that's patched up,
That will get
whether
it
that'll
more in the
allow
second
you
season.
to actually get the version that you're talking about, the actual theme that
Right.
we know and love from Halo 2.
We shall see. We shall see. Well, I mean, season 2, to be honest, I didn't even think real hard on this because I was just kind of so underwhelmed by this season finale where I was just like, just keep, I mean, I guess for season 2, let's just keep freaking John's Spartan shit on more. Keep his helmet on. Stop taking it off every 5 seconds. I know what Pablo Schreiber looks like. Please just stop it. Also, I think I just wish they did more with the villain. I mean, I guess the Covenant being the villain. I don't know. It was kind of underwhelming when you have so much behind, so many compelling villains with the Covenant. Even though you can, I guess, view the Covenant as villains, but in reality, war is between two people who just disagree with each other. And after watching the show, you kind of are looking at, I feel like the UNSC is more the villains than the Covenant at the end, even though the prophets are kind of scumbags in their own ways,
Yeah.
using McKee. which I felt bad that she dies because I feel like could have been a really good redemption arc with her, especially since the prophets were planning on killing her.
I agree. I agree with
And
that
then it just
100%.
turns out being Kai, and you're just like, oh, come on, man. You could have done something with this. But hey, it just shows the writing just wasn't there. Before we beat this dead horse even worse than we already have, that's it. That's it for Halo. It's been a fun time sitting down with Schoening and talking about this show. But guess what? It ain't gonna be the end of Schoening being on this show. We're definitely gonna be having him back very, very soon. As for Slice of TV, we will be back again, and maybe with the man himself, Mr. Schoening here, to talk about episode 1 of the Disney Plus series Obi-Wan Kenobi. And maybe we'll have some other guests on too.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
So, since this is the end of this series, going forward when it comes to Slice of TV, we will be doing don't get me wrong, there will be shows in the future where I do go episode by episode breakdowns. But probably for the rest of this year, we're going to be doing episode 1 reviews, and then we're going to be doing series reviews at the end of the series. Especially like with Obi-Wan, it's 6 episodes. We'll do our review on episode 1, and then we'll come back at the end of episode 6 and talk about the whole series as a whole. And also, I want to do that. We're going to be doing that with Miss Marvel. We're going to be doing that with She-Hulk. And there's probably other shows out there. We're also going to be doing. We're also going to be sitting down and talking about Stranger Things season 4, part 1 and 2. A lot more TV reviews coming to your faces and your ears. So stay tuned for that. This week, though, we are talking about, of course, you're listening to this on a Monday. Wednesday will be our fresh cut of the 2022 remake of Firestarter, which, as of this recording, I literally just watched it, and boy, do I want to talk about it. And on Friday will be our episode talking about Top Gun. So you definitely want to come in and get into the danger zone because it's going to be a crazy one.
Danger zone.
Schoening, it has been an absolute pleasure having you here to talk about this. I'm just going to say, as Andrew would say, that was a show. That was a show. That was a show. But thank you so much for being here. Truly,
This has been a blast.
Was an honor having you on, sir. Before we go, where can people find you?
I'm on all social media, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Schoening. Just replace the O in my name with a 0 and you'll find me.
All right. Remember, description, all of his socials will be down in the description. I am Parker Dissects on everything, but you don't need to follow me on those accounts. Follow all the Dissect That Film accounts. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. One day I will post another TikTok, but
once more.
We're on Facebook as well, and of course, if you're watching us, we're on YouTube. So make sure to hit that like, comment down below what you thought of Halo, the series, or just what do you think of us? Did we do a good job? Did Schoening do a good job? Of course he did. Judge me instead. If you're listening to us right now, make sure to rate us 5 stars on whatever app you listen to. Spotify, I know they have rating there. One of my favorite podcast apps right now is Good Pods, where you can actually rate and leave reviews on per episode. So make sure if you listen to us there, leave us a review. Yeah. And until next time, I am your host, Brett Parker. That is Andrew Schoening. This has been Slice of TV, Halo, the series. We'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone.